Welcome back to Motherboard News. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So today I got a video for you, cover some ideas that I've had for the game. Been too a little lazy to make suggestions on the servers, but I think they could heavily improve the game in various ways. However, before we go into that, I have a sponsor for this video, the Opera GX browser. It's a web browser like many others, but it's focused more towards gaming, of course. And because of that, it has many features that lean towards that function. Most notably of that would be the GX Corner, which shows you a page of a release schedule of what's happening this week, as well as where you can get some free games. It also has a built-in Twitch and Discord functionality, although it has more uses than just easy access to some of your favorite sites. The GX control panel actually shows you how much resources the browser is taking up, what tabs are taking up the most resources, and actually allows you to adjust and set hard limits for RAM and CPU usage, which could be very useful if you're on a low-end machine. And the hot tab killer could be very useful for me because I have an issue with keeping too many tabs open. Currently, I think I have around 88. Although the most important detail is that the browser commonly has a very low resource usage, commonly being much lower than Firefox or Chrome. Though the detail I like most about this is the way you customize it, changing the theme from very nice, calm colors and set different wallpapers for the speed dial page. Now, I don't often take sponsorship offers, but I actually know a few viewers who use this browser, so it's probably a good one. Though I think you should be the one who make your minds up. Be sure to download it and tell me what you think. There will be a link for it in the description and in the pinned comment below. So now let's get on to the video. The first topic I want to bring up, the first idea I've been thinking about this one for quite some time, is to separate battle ratings for aircraft if they are in an air battle mode or a ground battle mode. You can even extend this to similar modes, whether it be enduring confrontation or a mixed sim battle. Essentially what I mean by this is, say the P-47 in an air battle could be 4.7, but in a ground battle, when it is bombing tanks as the objective, could be 5.0 maybe. The main example and reason why I kind of came up with this idea is the G91 R3 and R4 for the German tree. I believe the Italian R4 also has the Nords. The vehicle being able to carry 4 of them is extremely effective when facing tanks. However, it is only 8.7, and it wouldn't take much to say, yes, it's very effective even at 8.7. People even take it up to 10.0 and beyond games. Now, normally what Gaijin would do is up the battle rating because it's winning so many games. It's definitely winning lots of games. However, they can't do that because if they were to up the battle rating when facing aircraft in Air RB, it definitely is not a 9.0, 10.0 jet. It's subsonic, it doesn't have an afterburner, and the R4 is only armed with 4 M3 50 cals. Heck, the German one can only take out 2 50 cals if you want 4 Nords. The solution, at least in my view, is pretty simple. It should have a separate battle rating for when it's in a ground battle or in an air battle. In an air battle, 4 Nords isn't exactly that helpful. Sure, you can do some stuff. There's an air-to-air mode that you can use them with, but generally you're going to get mostly gun kills. So keep it at 8.7, but in a tank battle, 4 Nords is 4 enemy tanks out of the game. I feel, and many others feel, that it should be much higher, at least 9.0. I feel like maybe even 10.0. And of course, this wouldn't be just confined to the G91. The A7D with its upcoming Mavericks is definitely going to be very effective in a ground battle. Against other aircraft, they're not that great. You can use them against other aircraft though, it's kind of funny. This would also clear up a lot of issues in lower tiers. For example, things like the HE-112AO is extremely effective against low tier tanks. It's also actually pretty good in air battles, but the amount of seal clubbing you can do in that plane is unfair. Should probably be like 2.0 or something when facing tanks. Where I think would actually be very useful is in naval battles where aircraft's roles are very different. A fighter is not nearly as effective as a bomber per se. Things like the PEB-8 are insanely good thanks to their massive explosive, but P-47 not that great. However, these two things share the same battle rating. Now, if you were to put in a system that changes the battle rating depending on what the game mode is, you could have the PEB-8 be much higher, 5 or 6.0 even. Well, things like a A6M5 could stay at their 4.7 battle rating because they're not that effective when going against ships, even if it is a good fighter. Implementing a system like this alone could fix a good amount of compression issues that the game has without needing to extend the battle ratings that Gaijin for whatever reason doesn't want to do. You could also extend it to balance squadron battle, which is a very different game style than the rest of War Thunder. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to change a whole lot, but it would change the metas a lot. Certain vehicles that do really well in squadron battles that don't do well elsewhere in War Thunder use an alteration to their battle rating, but only for squadron battles, of course. You can also lead the vehicles that are kind of bad at their battle rating currently in squadron battles to be lower to actually be good. Would definitely change a lot of the meta. Of course, this idea overall has a downside. It's possible the Gaijin could break more things, change battle ratings that don't need to be changed. Could also lead them to adding premiums that have unfair battle ratings. In my personal sense, it would be bad because I would have to read more battle rating changes when covering the battle rating time changes. Those things are already not fun to read. But be sure to tell me what you think about that idea in the comments below. Another idea I had was less trying to fix issues in the game, more just adding some cool features. The idea was to prestige tanks, kind of like how in Call of Duty, once you reach the top level, you can prestige and it starts you over at level 1 again, you have to build all the way back up. The same thing would happen, but for individual tanks. You could spade a tank, say the Panzer IV-G. You like that tank, you spade it, and you could prestige the tank, and it would start you back out at a stock vehicle. For the most part, this would be done for bragging rights. You could say, oh look, I spade this tank 4 times. Now my idea is that you could spade it up to 4 times, because first you spade the tank, and then you heart the tank, and then you club the tank, and then you ace the tank. But perhaps you could do it beyond that, like 10 or so times. You don't really need to stick to the playing card scheme. Now there is also the possibility maybe doing this could get you some sort of benefit other than bragging rights. My immediate idea was perhaps an increase in the amount of silver lions you get from using the tank, or possibly even research points. Though I could see Gaijin being a little less willing to implement the idea if people were asking for an easy way to grind. However, I would also argue that if it did increase the amount of research or silver lions or whatever, that it wouldn't matter that much, because it's likely somebody who spades a tank 4 times has already ground out most vehicles within the area around that tank, and probably only has a few ones at the top tier to actually research, meaning that using this tank would not gather that many research points for top tier tanks, unless it was a top tier tank, in which, well, I don't know, maybe you should give them the reward for committing so much time to the game. It also opened up another way for a Gaijin to earn money, because somebody who likes to tank a lot but doesn't have a lot of time to play the game, maybe they want to spade their tank 4 times through Golden Eagles. A possibility somebody could do. The functionality could also be carried over to premium vehicles. You buy the vehicle, of course it's fully spaded, but then perhaps you could prestige the tank and be able to play through a premium vehicle using different types of ammunition, not just the top round like most people would when they buy a new premium vehicle. Would give kind of a point for these premium vehicles to have their other shells. My personal interest in this mechanic would be that it gives me a reason to go play some more low tier tanks. I personally very much enjoyed low tier tanks, but you grind them out in the blink of an eye and then you spade them real quick, you have reason to keep playing them evaporates quite fast. And while for the most part people play games to have fun, a portion of the reason why people continue to play the game is because they want to get that dopamine rush of, oh, you unlocked something. And that's partially why you often find that lower tier vehicles get abandoned quite fast and people keep pushing for new and more modern things because they want that dopamine rush of, oh, I unlocked the new thing. In this mechanic, you might not actually need to keep pushing the power creep. People could be satisfied unlocking the same mechanics for their favorite tank. They'd actually have a reason to play it beyond, I like this tank. A few other ideas that one of my squadron members came up with. One was to be able to change the position of your crew members in a tank when one has been lost. So you could have the loader perhaps go to the commander seat so he could use the MG. As cool as that idea would be, I could see people abusing it a lot, switching crew members around a lot so it's harder to kill the tank, but also perhaps driving into a lake to the point where only your turret's above the water, letting the driver die, not replacing him, and just being a turret in the water, which I actually wouldn't entirely be against because it would be really funny. Well, LA's for the first few times. The other idea that he came up with was to adjust your smoke grenades, either changing the angle in which they shoot out of their little tubes or change the amount in which they shoot. Oftentimes you'll shoot all your smoke grenades or half of them at once. You should be able to adjust it to the point where you only shoot perhaps 1 or 2 smoke grenades, or maybe do want to shoot every single smoke grenade. Those are just a few ideas that he came up with. If you have any of your own, I would love to hear them because I bet there's plenty of neat ideas out there, and perhaps maybe you can even post them on the forums and hope that in 3 years Gaijin decides to look at them. But that's everything I have for this video. So before I end it, first I'd like to thank my patrons, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Thank you very much, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, of course, hit me up down below. If you've liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make weather weekly news videos every Friday, make rain reviews throughout the week, and I like to stream on Saturdays. So be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a video. Thank you very much for coming by. I hope you have a fantastic day. In the terms of bonus news, if you haven't noticed, the new season of the Battle Pass has come out, and the T55E1 is hit the streets. To make a quick review of the vehicle, it's essentially a US Puma, an open top, very lightly armored, carrying a 75mm gun. It differs in a few ways. The reload is shorter by like 1 second. It has no MG at all. It's less armored and has less penetration, although it does feel like it's a bit faster off-roads. Altogether though, you could either class it with or slightly under the Puma. Despite this though, it is almost 2 battle ratings above the Puma at 4.7, while the Puma sits at a nice 3.0. Now, the funny part is it's currently being spammed and to quite an effective degree. I would not be surprised if people started claiming the thing was OP and demand its battle rating go up. And I have to wonder, will its battle rating go up? It's definitely winning a lot. The first time I took it out, I drove up on a hill and did nothing the entire match while the entire team of T-55E1s destroyed the enemy. And it's probably going to be spammed out for quite some time because it's a pretty good vehicle and a popular tree. Honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if they did put up the 5.0 or 5.3. Well, of course, the Puma would still sit at 3.0.